Hi there, it's Rich with Rich Baum Photography, Sacramento, California, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Rich Baum's Tips and Tricks for Real Estate Photography. We talk about gear here, we talk about techniques, things that are going to help you become more successful, make more money, and do a better job at what you're doing so you can just, have more free time to enjoy your life. So I want to thank Adorama for sponsoring this channel, this YouTube channel. And if you're going to buy some gear, I'd really like it if you would use my affiliate link, which you'll see in the show notes. Today, I'm going to start with a video that is it's asked a lot of me. What do I use? What tripods, what heads, what geared heads, what do I use? What lights, you name it. So I'm just going to go through everything as I pull it out of my car for each and every real estate photography photo shoot. So let's just get started. Now I drive a little Outback here, and I've got room in here for all my stuff. And that is something that you can do whatever you want and that works for you. But for me, this is working really pretty good. Okay, so I've got my tripod, which is a Manfrotto 3046. A lot of people know I use this. It's an older tripod. I've been using these since the middle 1980s. But I find that it is the tripod for me because mainly it is bulletproof. It will last you a lifetime since the 80s, and it has a geared center column, which is really, really handy. So I can maneuver my head, go up or go down really fast or easy. I can even push the button and just go straight down on it. I've got my geared head, which is my preferred geared head, is the Arca Swiss D4. A little expensive for some of you out there. It's probably going to run between, I can put one together for about $800, $900 with a great Really Right Stuff plate. But if you look out there, you can probably see it's going to be $1,100, $1,200. So if you want some information, you can find some stuff in my show notes, and you can find some information in the groups. And if worst case scenario, just contact me. I'll see if I can help set you up. But I've got a beautiful Really Right Stuff clamp, a lever clamp, which really helps me because it has a beautiful bubble level here. It's a beautiful clamp, beautiful head, bubble level. My life is so good. And if you can afford it, I'd certainly say to get yourself a really good tripod and head, because those things and a plate like this, they'll last you 10, 15, 20, 25 years. My camera gear is not going to last me that long. So things get outdated. Tripods and heads don't really get outdated. There are some new stuff coming out, but what I've got, in my opinion, is the best thing in the world I could ever get. So it's the Manfrotto 3046 tripod. You can actually find them used. You can't buy them new. Find them used on eBay for about $79, $80, and plus shipping. But I love them. They're my favorite tripod of all time. And the head is the Arca Swiss D4. Great idea, great, well-made precision. It's lasted me, this is over 2 years old, and I have had no issues with it. But most of all, it's so simple, so easy, so enjoyable to rotate and to get you in level. And with this bubble level on the Really Right Stuff clamp, and that's about $120, it is well worth the money because it shows me I've always got my camera in level when I've got that bubble in the middle of the circle. So I love it, and that's what I've got. Next I want to show you is I will bring out my camera bag or camera case. And I personally use the Pelican 1510. This is the older one that's not the light version. And I don't really have anything to say about the light version because I haven't used it. I would like to save a little weight on this, but I've heard that the light version is not quite as robust as the original version. But again, I haven't used it, so I don't know. So I'm going to open this up and show you what I use. Now, I personally, the thing's going to fall backwards, so I'm going to push it forward so we don't have a disaster in the middle of my video. Okay, so I'm going to pull out everything as I would at a real shoot. And I've got everything in here I need. I've got my backups. I've got my lights. I've got cards. iPad, you name it. I've got it all in here and it fits really well. And I've got these padded dividers which work really well. If you're going to get this, either get the padded dividers that you can buy with it, or get the I forget the name of them there, but they're pack something, but they're a little more they're thinner, and they're like corrugated plastic. But I find that it was very expensive and I just never spent the money on it. I'd rather spend it on a D4 head. But for me, the padded dividers work great, but you got to get padded dividers. Don't go with that foam insert that you got to pick and pluck foam. It's crazy and not even something you want to even deal with. So first thing I'm going to do is pull out my tripod on any shoot, and I'm going to then pull out my camera. And today I'm going to use my Sony a7 III with my 16 to 35 G Master lens. And I gotta say, I go back and forth between tilt shifts, between primes, between the Sony 12 to 24 f4. This lens is something I've now been using for the last 6 months almost solely. It's got a zoom. Okay, I gotta focus it, so it's, you know, part of the deal. But it's such a great lens. It is not only sharp, but it feels great. It is just a quality optic. And now you can certainly get the Sony 16 to 35 f4, the Zeiss lens, which is cheaper, and it has vibration reduction. But I'll tell you something, I am really picky on my ultra wide angle lenses for not only real estate, but for like if I was shooting landscape out here another day. And this is the lens that I love. Not only because it's 2.8, I rarely use 2.8 for real estate photography, but I really love it. It's just so well made. The optics are unmatched. So little, teeny little bit of barrel distortion, but you know what? I love it. It's a great lens. So I've got this. I'll put this on my camera, turn it around, use my Really Right Stuff lever clamp, and I'll put that on. The next thing I'm going to do is probably get out my trigger. Okay, so I use the flash point. Where is it? Oh, it's the R2 Pro, and I have it for Nikon because I prefer to use a non-Sony trigger on my lens because I know that there are issues with color, white balance, things like that. So for this, I don't need TTL, so I just use a Nikon trigger. And this R2 Pro is the trigger that I use. I just love it. I love that each channel, each group is on a different button, and it works for me. So I put that on, and one little tip for you is make sure you really, if you're shooting on a Sony camera, make sure that your trigger is really well seated in your hot shoe. So, and really tighten that down. And if you have problems with your trigger not working or working intermittently, many times, almost every time, it's because my trigger, I don't know how it happens, but my trigger gets a little unseated, so I need to just go in there, and I can always feel it pop in. So be sure to do that. Now, really important here is I want to press upon everybody that's using Flashpoint or Godox, same thing. Be sure that you get yourself a backup, because I promise you, these things will break. And it's just, I'm not trying to blame it on it's a Chinese thing, but these things are cheap, inexpensive. I think I paid $35 for these, but have a backup of everything you've got, or at least another light or another trigger that you can use if you need, okay? And while I'm on that subject, I'm gonna say right here, I can pull out an extra set of batteries. So I have an extra set of batteries right here, AA's, which I can put. Now, everything I've got is not AA anymore. I love getting away from AA and using lithium ion. But you still need some batteries for the trigger. So I've got those here if I need them. Okay, so I got my camera on here. Next thing I'm gonna do is pull out my iPad. And as most of you know, if you follow my channel, I always shoot with an iPad, and it's got a life-proof case. The problem is this case comes with a strap and strap little grommets here. But the new life-proof cases do not come with a strap or grommets, I understand. But you can go on Amazon and find tons of cases with straps for any iPad, anything you have. So I get that. I put it on me here because I don't want to forget it later. Okay, so next I'm going to do is I'm going to do one thing that I want to tell everybody here to do. Get an extra battery, make sure the battery's in your camera, but get an extra battery and put it in your pocket. How many times have we run out of battery and it's going to take us 10 minutes to go out to the car, get a battery, get back, set up the camera, this and that. Have an extra battery with you, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is start pulling out my lights, and I'm going to pull out my favorite light. It's got a little, actually I got this plastic cover on the Streetlight 360 from a can of peanuts. I had that for many years, and my flash has gone with me around the world, and it is still working. It is the Flash Point, the Streetlight 360, and it is my favorite light, mainly because unlike the Evolve 200 or the AD 200, it has a head that works and moves, and it rotates and things like that. I love it, and it's 360 watt seconds, so how great is that? So I'm going to pull out. Now the only disadvantage to this flash is you got to have an external battery, and now this isn't small or light, but I don't mind it, and I have this special clamp that comes with it. So if you're going to get yourself a Streetlight 360, you got to get a clamp to go on your tripod. So one thing I'm going to do right at the car, I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to open it to the right width. And if you have my and the flash stands I'm using are the Manfrotto 1051 BAC. I love these stands. Not super tall, but compact, really easy to carry, and I love it. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna raise this up to the first level on the lowest level, and I'm gonna put that right here. And I'm gonna put on my Streetlight 360. And I get that ready at the car. Okay, so here we go. And I also use, I'm going to show you this too, I use the Manfrotto quick release right here and the quick release plate because I always know I have a really good connection. And I've never dropped a flash since using this system, but I've dropped flashes before when I had to tighten up a cold shoe or something. Got to make sure that you plug in the light to the Flash Point battery. It's called a Blast Pack BP 960, but you can get anything. And also I put a little whiteout on this, and I labeled my angle so I know that this is the right way to put it in. And I have the whiteout on the battery itself. So I've got that there. Okay, and please understand this whole thing's going to take me about 2 minutes to get together because I do it every day so many times. So it's not a big deal for me, but I'm kind of explaining it to you. Okay, and I take off this protector because I want a little extra power from here, but I could easily leave on that protector for protection or the diffuser cap, but I just find never have a problem with it. Okay, let's go bring out my next stand, which is identical here. Again, it is the Manfrotto 1051 BAC. These are my stands. I love them, and they even nest together. You can snap them all together, although I never do it. So I'm going to put that out there, set it up the height. I'm going to go here, and now I'm going to make sure that you can see it here. I'm going to take my Evolve 200, and yes, this is a neoprene or rubber condom or case cover for these. You can find this on Adorama or even Amazon, and I'll put the Adorama link in the show notes if I can find it. I also have the quick release here and the quick release here, that Manfrotto plate. The number and the model number will be in the show notes. They ain't cheap. It's going to cost you like 25 bucks, 30 bucks to put per light, but you can use them forever and ever and ever. It will just last you your whole lifetime. So it's a great investment if you're in this game, as I am, and you really want to make your life easier. You want to make everything work for you. Go get what I recommend. I promise you, I do this and I tell you what I want because I've done this since the beginning, and I've done it so many years that I want to pass on to you what works for me. Okay, so we've got my 2 lights. Now, I always go in, and the great thing is I can go into the house with 2 lights in one hand. Now, please understand, I'm an old guy, 62. By the time you see this, I might be 63. I've got 2 lights in one hand and my stand in another hand, and I walk into the house. Now that means I've got everything I need. I didn't tell you to make sure you got an SD card or a compact flash card, but I've got everything I need, so I don't have to worry about anything, and I go right into the house, and that saves me a lot of time. But I love these stands and I love this stuff because I can get it all in one take, in one run. I can get everything I need, except I can't put these flat on this ground right here. So I'm going to put them back here. Okay, there we go. So I got everything I need. I want to show you what else I have, because not only do I have backup stuff, but I've got a lot of stuff that I find really just helps me. So as a backup lens, and it's a love-hate relationship, this is the Sony 12 to 24 f4G lens, not a G Master. And it's got the big bulbous front end, and it's super wide. It's a 12 millimeter, it goes to 12 millimeters on full frame. I don't need it. I don't even really like to use this lens because there's a lot of, not distortion, it's a lot of stretching. And it's just inherent with such a wide angle lens. So, you know, I'm gonna do a review on the 16 to 35 versus the 12 to 24. But right now I'm gonna say I've got it in case I need it. If I'm shooting a backyard that is teeny, or a bathroom or something, I really need to get it, I'll use the wider lens. But anyway, I'm gonna put that right there. Next I have my Cam Ranger. I have not been using the Cam Ranger. If you've watched my videos in the past, you'll know that it hasn't been working as I would like it, but I'm still giving it a chance, and I bring it out every so often. If you're using Nikon or Canon, you may want to check out the Cam Ranger. I can't say anything about Fuji, but for Sony, it's got some issues, and I'm not going to push it anymore, but I will say that that's really up to you. And for my backup camera, which Sony, I don't need a Cam Ranger if I don't want it. I can just use the built-in Wi-Fi and the built-in app, and that is the Imaging Edge app now. It used to be called Play Memories and this and that. You know, Sony's got a little problem with range and Wi-Fi range and connectivity, so I won't go into that, but I'm just gonna say that my backup camera, and I've done many videos on this, not this body. So originally I used to use the A6000, which is a crop sensor, low-end Sony camera, and I love it. And I still use the exact same Samyang lens. And this Samyang lens, f2, I love it because I set it and I actually put a piece of tape on the focus. So I don't have to focus it. I hope you can see this in focus. I don't have to focus it, so it's really fast, really easy, and I set it to f7.1 on this camera, so I get everything in focus. I don't need to focus it, and I just love it. And it's light and it's small. It also helps me with, okay, let me pull out my pole. I've got this in my car, and most of you know I preach and believe in my pole. But here is my pole in the car. I have it in the car all the time. I got a little Really Right Stuff BH30, I think it's BH30, BH35 head, and a mini lever clamp for it. And this is my pole, and I will use my Sony a6400. So I got the A6400 on this pole, and it works great for me. And if you want to learn more about each of these, you can learn more about learn more about my pole on another YouTube video if you go searching for it. And you can learn more about the A6000 and how it works in my other videos. But the A6400 was the next step up because it's got a lot better autofocus system. And I don't use this autofocus for real estate photography, but if I'm doing sports, or if I'm doing, just I want to bring it on a trip, a smaller camera, it is unbelievably great. It doesn't have in-body camera stabilization, so that's just one little thing. Okay, I have a backup light, and I used to use this as my main light. I'm going to show you my main light in a minute. but this is the flash point. This is the Zoom Lithium Ion XR2 for Sony with the round head. I'll be honest with you, I haven't really noticed it being better or stronger or anything compared to this one. I have another one, the Lithium Ion R2, and I put that with the base for the same base I use on all my lights. I keep that on here, but it's nice to grip on the on the hot shoe, cold shoe, whatever you want to call it. And I put it in a pouch. I'm going to show it to you. I put it on a pouch, zip tied. Now we all get pouches with our speed lights, and they go into a closet, into a drawer, and they never seen again because we never use them. But I took it and I put little zip tie. I want to zip tie to my tripod leg, so I always have a speed light at my convenience. And when I'm shooting small bedrooms and bathrooms, I don't need to be moving my lights. I don't have to do anything with stands. I just walk down the hallway and shoot bam, bam, bam. I shoot room, a bathroom, a bedroom, this and that. And they all are on more than enough power with this speed light. It's a lithium ion, so it has a lithium ion battery. If you're still doing double A's, get out of it. Get over it. Get yourself some lithium ion lights. Okay. Next thing I have is this, and I think I've gone over a lot of things, but let me go over a couple more. Okay, I've got this little divider that goes in the top of the Pelican case, which is really great. I have a here I have a 82 millimeter circular polarizer, and that's a, what do I have? I think it's a B plus W. Yeah, B plus W. If I need, I don't use it very often, but you can. Sometimes it helps with reducing glare on windows and glass and things like that. But from my experience in testing it, it works sometimes, but it doesn't work all the time. Now I've got some sensor cleaning. Let's put this down here. I got some sensor cleaning swabs, and I have some sensor cleaning solution in here. If I needed to clean my sensor, I can always do so. Remember, you got to learn to deal with it. So you either send it in to Sony and they charge you 30, 40, 50 bucks and a week, or you find a place to do it, or you do it yourself. Okay, so I've got that, and now I've got cables here. I always have extra cables. I have a USB-A, USB-C, and a Thunderbolt cable for my iPhone. And that means if my iPad goes down, all I have to do is plug it in to there into my iPad, and I'll go get a small USB battery bank, put it in my pocket, and I can use my iPad the rest of the day. So I've had the same iPad as long as I've been doing videos, and it will last the whole house, but not much longer than that. I might be due for a new battery or a new iPad, but I'm going to see what I got to do first. So I've got the battery here. I'm going to also have a big battery, and this is a great battery by Anker. And this is one, I think it's 20,000 milliamps, and I've had this years, and it really powers everything I need if I need to power, you name it. But it is kind of old technology and older, not technology, but older. So they may have better, cheaper things for you. And the last thing I'm going to show you right here is I have my memory cards in a Think Tank memory card holder. And just make sure that you have a card in your camera before you go in the house to shoot it. Because how many times have we gotten in there and we realize it won't shoot? And also, set your camera up. I want to make sure you see my camera. Set your camera up so it will not shoot without a card. That's easy to do on almost, I think, every single DSLR, mirrorless, Sony, Nikon, Canon, whatever. Make sure you set that up. Okay? Now, I want to show you what I bring in. I'm going to close this up now, and I'm just going to let you know I really like the Pelican case because it's just bomb-proof. No pun intended, Baum-proof, and it will last forever, and it will protect your gear no matter what. Okay, so here's one of my backup lens cases, and I'm probably going to be getting another Pelican case in a while, but here we go, and I hope you can see this. Let me make sure if you can see it. Hold on a second. I've got my iPhone monitoring this video. Yeah, you can see it okay. So I'm going to go and show you what I bring with me because I always want to have, I may not bring it out to the shoot, but I always want to have it in case I need it. I've got a 24 Canon with an MC11 adapter, and this 24 Canon tilt shift is a wonderful lens, and I use it all the time for all my design photography, and sometimes I use it for a kitchen, just the right lens. I also have the Canon 17mm tilt shift, and I've got that if I need it. I've got my Sony 24-70, come on, 24-70 2.8, which is a lens every photographer should have, mainly if you're a wedding photographer or a portraits. 24-70 is much better than a 16-35, but it's not as wide. But this lens is awesome, so I always have this in case I want to do detail shots. I do most of my detail shots handheld with the 24-70 2.8. Okay, and I've got this baby. I've got the 85 1.8 Sony, and this is the best value lens made in the world, but it's like $500 and you get a 1.8 Sony. It's the sharpest lens of any lens I have, in my opinion. I don't pixel peep, but I would put money on it. That is just a super sharp lens. I also have a backup Evolve 200. As I said, have a backup for your flashes, for your trigger. If your trigger dies, you're out of luck, okay? Nothing. Oh wait, I got one thing here. I got another trigger here. So I've got two backup triggers. I've never had a trigger break yet, but it will someday. So I have this in a camera case, and you can put it in whatever you want, but make sure you have what you need. And because I shoot upper end stuff, and sometimes I really want to focus on quality, I'm going to have specific lenses. So if you're doing day-to-day real estate photography, you could just get by with one lens and one camera. But again, have a backup. Okay. So, and I've got my last backup bag here, and I've got the this is my Tamric bag I've had since the 1970s, and I bought this new, and I've got what I have in it is my light that I rarely ever use. This is my Wistro AD600, but you can also get this in a Flashpoint or Adorama brand. And I love this light, but I don't use it because it's just too heavy for me. You can certainly do tons of research to find out all the details, but I could certainly use it by my hand. But my hat's off to all of you out there that use a 600 handheld. I can't do it. I'm just not strong enough. I don't want to do it. Don't even go there. So I've got this if I need it. And what I've got also is another battery. So I have and I use Cheetah. This battery is 8 years old. It's been used for years. It still works fine. It's got three out of 4 lights, but it still works fine. And I've got a backup in case I need it. I keep that there. But I'm going to show you my last little piece of information is I have the same stand as these. It's the, let me find the number. Here it is. It's the Manfrotto 1004 BAC. And this is the greatest stand, but I don't want it for my main stands for all this because I want nice and small. But when I get into a big house and I need the big light, the 600, I put out this stand and I put on, I don't even need a connector on here. I go directly into this 600 light. And again, I don't think I use this every 10th shooter, so I might not use it for months. But when I need it, I've got it. So have it if you need it. Okay, so I've got this here, and I've got it on it's a 12-foot stand. So I will bring it if I have a foyer, the entrance to a house. I will put it in a corner, and the entrance to the house could be 2 stories, huge area. I just lift this bad boy up 12 feet, as high as it goes. Now be careful because it's wobbly and it's very high, but this has saved my behind so many times. So have this if you need it. Now, if you can't afford it, don't get it. And I'm not saying you need it in any way, shape, or form to do your job. So don't go there. But I'm saying is if you can afford it, it's nice to have, because when you're shooting, and let's say you're shooting a wood house that has high ceilings and dark wood, I know that I am going to be able to I'm going to overpower the ambient light with this. So it really helps. Plus a 200 and a 360, so I've got a lot of power if I need it, but I rarely need it, so I'm not even going to go there today. But just, it's always good to have more than you need. And things that I would also bring, but I didn't bring today, is I might need a shoot-through umbrella, I might need a reflector, I might need a lot of things, and last but not least, this is what I use when it's raining out. And this could be my most important tip for you, is to get one of these. You pull the string, get it here, pull the string, and there you go. You've got protection from rain, and you can make fun of me all you want. But you know what? It has saved me, and I can easily show you how I can shoot with this. There we go. And I'm not seeing anything in my frame, and it has made the day. And how many times this little baby has saved my butt. So I wish you luck, and I think you should use one of these. I can find them on Amazon. If you do a little search for umbrella hat or something, you'll find this. So it's Rich with Rich Baum Photography saying, listen, you may use different things and you may use different techniques and whatever, but this is what works for me. And I love my gear, and it's taken me years to find exactly what I need. And I think that I've found it. Sure, I might buy some things new, but I'm really sticking with the things I've had. The other thing I didn't bring up earlier was an L bracket. I really believe, because you can easily switch between vertical and horizontal orientation without realigning your tripod. So if you're not using an L bracket, you're missing out, but that's another video for you later. So anyway, thank you for checking out Rich Baum and Rich Baum's tips and tricks for real estate photography from beautiful Sacramento, California today. And I want to say thank you to Adorama for sponsoring my channel. If you are going to buy some gear, I'd appreciate it if you'd use the affiliate link in the show notes, because it helps motivate me to make these free videos. That's my new thing. I'm going to go free videos. Hint, hint. Anyway, if you do or you don't, that's fine. I'm happy to help you out. Check out Shooting Spaces, a real estate photography podcast, at shootingspacesPodcast.com. And with my partner, Brian Berkowitz in New York, we put on some interesting interviews and always good stuff for you. So shoot better, shoot smarter. Spend your time wisely, spend your money on the right gear, but spend it on education too. Shoot better, shoot faster, get better clients, make more money, get rich, and now maybe we won't get rich, but at least we'll enjoy our life, pay for your kids' college funds, you name it. We've got a lot of stuff we can spend money on. Yes, and leave a comment, a thumbs up, thumbs down, it's all good. Talk to you later on the next real estate photography tutorial. Bye.